Hi and good day. I hope you are doing well. In today's video, we are going to discuss about application engineering support that is provided by our company, Framework Engineering. When we say application engineering, it means that you are referring to customer specification and data sheets and its requirement and trying to make the valve selection and a code. Now, the point is the selection can be done either through a software or through Excel and then formatted accordingly to send it to the customer. In application engineering department, the working is being divided normally into three parts. One is where there are few valves or new valves, but they are very less in number, maybe 10 or 20 numbers. Second could be spares requirement for your own valves. And third could be a large number of valves, but it is for projects or tenders. Here the documentation is very critical for the projects and tender. In all the three cases, whether you are making a quotation for few valves or spares or working for a project, in terms of knowledge required technically is same. However, when I'm referring to project quotation, the documentation is very high. Testing requirement may be additional, due to which a lot of time is spent to make a single quote. A lot of time is spent to go and discuss with different department, either with quality or with production. As you can see on the screen, typical data sheet is there. One has to make such data sheets or fill one of them given by the customer. Here the data is quite large. Consider that there are 200 tags and you might have to fill say 50 fields. That translates to around 10,000 values to be filled. Also, along with the datasheet, there could be many specifications given with it. So one has to go through it completely and make sure that the selection is done as per the specification and as per the requirement of the customer. Generally, any deviation from the specification is not accepted by the customer. Hence, one has to read the complete specification and datasheets and quote accordingly. Imagine that if you miss any information which is important for the selection of the valve, it means that you have to again go and review all the 200 tags and revise where you have made a mistake. And on top of that, the whole quotation has to be done within a time span of 5 to 7 days. So it's quite a challenge to make a proper quotation on time. Now, let me give the breakup of the activities done in the quotation stage in terms of hours or days. 12 to 16 hours is required just to review the datasheet and customer specification. Here the point is what one has to do first. Should you refer to the datasheet first and then specification, or the other way around? Why I am saying this is because imagine if you refer to the datasheet and start with your selection, it may happen that the specification will give you a different guidelines. Example, say the rating of the valve must be minimum 300 rating, and you have done a selection based on the design pressure and temperature, and it may happen that you might have selected some of the valve with 150 rating. So your selection is completely wrong. Consider the other way around. Suppose that you were referring to the specification first and you read it completely. Then it takes too much time to complete only the specification part, and you might mark many clauses that you will consider them important, but at later stage when you are referring to the data sheet, you will realize that these clauses are actually not required really. So you are spending time either way. What should be done in this case? Normally what I do is that I have the data sheets and I refer them first, spend around 20 to 30 minutes roughly, and get a fair idea of what is required. What I see is the type of the valve, the sizes, minimum, maximum, and the pressure and temperature, and some material. With that idea, I start with the specifications and go through the complete specification properly. I have a normal PDF editor, so what I do is I start to highlight and start commenting on the points which require special attentions during sizing, selection, testing requirements, or any other thing which I need to take care during the costing part of the quotation. Also what I do is that any part which require special confirmation from different department, I send the mail right away, so that by the time the quotation is ready, I have the confirmation from the departments also. So the activity of reviewing itself, it takes around 16 hours the next step could be data entry. Earlier, as I was saying, that there are 10,000 values to be added either in Excel or the company software. This data entry where you need to transfer all the parameters from the datasheet to the software. So I am considering, say for 200 valves, say it takes around 20 to 24 hours. That is 2.5 to 3 days. Here, let me add one more point. Depending upon the situation, data entry and selection are done tag wise, or if one is using Excel, then all the data entry is done in one go and then selection can be done for all the tags together. That depends upon how one can do the data entry and selection correctly and within the shortest possible time. Most of the project requires additional documentation, such as what are the procedures that we need to submit it to the customer, the spare list, deviation list, and customer format documents which needs to be filled. This will take again at least say half a day of your time, so 3 to 4 or 4 hours of time. Once the complete technical part and the special requirements are done, we can proceed to do the costing of the whole project. If everything is available, it means that the valves are standard and all the costing is available. It takes around 1 day to complete the costing. Adding everything, I am saying that it takes around 55 to 60 hours of your time. That is 7 to 8 days. Here I am saying that all the time that I have considered is ideal and you are not stuck with any sizing, selection or any confirmation from any other department. However, this ideal situation happens in most of the case in 1 out of 10. For most of the project, it doesn't happen. So for an engineer, it's really a tough job to do the sizing and selection and make a quotation within a time of say 5 to 7 days. Okay. In my days, I used to do around 35 projects in a year. However, we had engineers who were doing 65 to 70 projects in 1 year. So this is the typical timeline for a project quotation to be made. Here I also want to highlight one more point, that maximum time spent by the engineer is in the data entry itself, and that is in the beginning of the project, and he spent a lot of energy in that. So after that, he is doing the most critical, that is the sizing and selection and trying to complete the project. The point I'm trying to make is that the quotation engineer should spend maximum time and energy in sizing, selection and compliances to the customer requirement and not on the data entry. So what we can do for you? One, we can do the data entry for you either in your software or in Excel, so that you spend your time in doing only the critical activity of the project. Second, we can make the complete project for you, including data entry, sizing, selection, documentations, and any other thing which is required from our offices itself. Let me elaborate on this point. Most of the global MNCs have their own offices in India, where local engineers are doing such work for global quotations. If required, we can set up an office for you, work from that office and make quotation as per the requirements. Third, we have some productive tools that I've made, which I believe can help an application engineer to utilize its time for more critical activity rather than data entry. Complete details are given in the description. You can check it and see whether it is useful for you or not. So these are the 3 ways that we can work together and support the customers by providing quality quotations in a short time. Our contact details are available on the screen. Thank you for watching.